everyone out there, welcome back to the Phantoms Fanatic YouTube channel. I am back with another review, and this week I'm reviewing the Super Mario Bros. Movie released this year in 2023, starring Jack Black, Anya Taylor-Joy, Chris Pratt, Charles Martinet, Charlie Day, Seth Rogen, Keegan-Michael Key, Fred Armisen, and others, and it was directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic. And the plot of the Super Mario Bros. Movie is that Mario and Luigi are plumbing brothers who, through strange circumstances, end up in the mystical realm of the Mushroom Kingdom, where Princess Peach, the leader of the Mushroom Kingdom, has to help Mario, who has to help Mario because his brother Luigi was kidnapped by Bowser, who plans on stealing a star and trying to marry Peach and rule the entire kingdom. And I am here, of course, joined by my good old buddy, Zeg.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there.
Nice Nintendo Switch.
No, thanks.
Another thing that is in his pocket is that.
Yeah. Yeah, I got my Legend of Zelda Game and Watch, Game Boy Advanced.
How much shit do you have in your pockets?
Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS,
There's a Wii in the left side of that.
and my favorite portable Nintendo console, the Nintendo Wii.
Anyways, there will be a
That's only one of the two that I have.
Yeah. There will be a Meandering Conversations out the day after this comes out that will explain why Zeg is here. Me and him talked about our opinions on the Mario Bros. Movie on that, but he asked me if he could join me for this
Very
review.
politely.
Yes, very
It was
politely.
very polite.
He didn't threaten me with saying, if I'm not in the review by the time this podcast comes out, I will do stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was a very polite, kind man.
Anyways,
I normally am on that podcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep interrupting you by accident. I'm sorry.
nah, it's all right. Anyways, this film is obviously made by Illumination, a studio who I think has had one good movie and a bunch of movies, leaning towards bad. But this film is the video game based off the video game franchise of Super Mario Bros. And Zeg here is a huge fan of those games, so that's why he's here. Me and him will discuss our general opinion on the film, and yeah, it'll just be pretty much a Meandering Conversations podcast, even with the same backdrop, because I am talking to him, so I need to use this setup instead of my normal one.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to see the rest of his house.
You can look in the other reviews, and you will see.
I think I saw you did a review in a car one time.
That was after I saw it in theaters. That's why.
You were just like, shit, I watched this movie, it was crazy. I gotta talk about it now. You just went in the car with, I think, your brother.
No, that was my good buddy Warhawk, who's also a staple on the channel, like you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyways, just for a first start-off question for Zeg, what was your general opinion of the movie?
My general opinion was it was a very, very fun experience to just sit down at the theaters and just watch like a very eventful yet not eventful movie. It was kind of odd because it was a lot of fun to watch, but at the same time, not a lot happened, and what did happen went by very quickly.
Yeah, that sums up my main opinion on this film. Critics have been shitting on this film, which I only can understand is if they don't know Mario. I can see why some critics would say, "What the hell is this? It has no like character growth or anything like that." And I'm like, "There's a little of that, but that's not the main focus." I didn't expect this film to have some grandiose message behind it. I expected to see a film with Chris Pratt voicing Mario and to see a pretty much a video game movie where they throw a bunch of references, just make it fun, maybe have a few good jokes, and be bright and colorful, have some good animation. And I exactly got that. This is definitely Illumination's best looking film, but it's still very entertaining to me. So I didn't have that big of a problem with it.
Yeah, from what I noticed, a lot of critics, like their main reason why they didn't like the movie was because, like, when it came to the moviness of this experience, it wasn't very there. Uh, but at the same time, that doesn't make it any less fantastic because of how they do it.
Yeah.
The way I explained it the first time we recorded this, which uh totally this time, is that it's a very, very delicious nothing burger.
Yeah, like the film is the best example of what I call a popcorn entertainment movie. It doesn't have any grandiose big themes that it's trying to inveigh. It's not trying to make you think super hardly on the ideas, and it's not trying to like break the art form of cinema. And I didn't expect it to be that. The film is just entertaining to me. It's only about 90 minutes. The pacing is really fast. It really goes through the beats fast enough to where I was never bored while watching it.
And I mean, like, to a certain extent, isn't that really the main job of a movie?
Yeah, is to entertain, but some people are also looking for entertainment but also having thought-provoking themes behind them. That's what the best movies do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that can be subjective. I mean, if you look at other art forms, people are going to look for other stuff as well, but that doesn't necessarily make a game or a piece of, or like a mural, any better or worse. It's art is always subjective, whether you're watching it via video playing it via video game, or just looking at a fucking picture. It's art is subjective. So what I think is that it shouldn't be looked down upon because it doesn't do a great job establishing this and character building that, and it doesn't necessarily have to have all those things to be a great film.
Yeah, I completely admit that sometimes films are meant to be watched for entertainment purposes, and I feel like this film is just entertaining, especially if you've played the games. The best comparison that I make this game with is it's accurate in adapting a Mario game just from its general perspective. It doesn't have that much deep character thought. You're just there to have fun, and that's what this film gives, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree a lot, but what I would say is that if you were trying to capture the games with, like, telling the same kind of story, I mean, 18 times out of like 20, you should be losing the princess immediately. But I mean, they
Yeah.
changed things up this time, so
I didn't have the biggest problem with them doing that because from a character and story perspective, I feel like it makes more sense to give a real reason why Mario is risking his life for somebody. It's his brother who he's always stuck with. Like that's the thing. I feel like that makes a lot more sense to have him be so motivated to save his brother because he just met this character of Peach. Yet again, you could write this movie to where you didn't need that perspective, but the way that they wrote this film, it makes sense to have it to where Mario wants to save his brother who he's always been with and known, when he's forming a relationship and bond with this new person he meets, Peach. And I feel like that makes more sense from a narrative perspective, especially with the way that they wrote the film. You know, two guys from the normal world come into a mystical world. It makes more sense to write it like that.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from there, but now that I start thinking about it, it wouldn't be true to form if, like, because they're obviously setting up a sequel. They're probably setting up a whole franchise with this. Um, I find it interesting that if they're trying to capture the aspect of the games, and this being like the backstory to all of it,
Yeah,
which totally retcons multiple games, making me a little upsetty. Um,
but it's an adaptation for film. You can't.
and I understand
Yeah.
that like the perfect motivation for Mario to go on this adventure is to have somebody close to him be taken, which would obviously be Luigi. But what I find interesting is that they made Princess Peach so capable in this movie that I find it interesting as to why she ever gets captured to begin with.
Well, she gets captured in the most stereotypical way where she tells this character who she cares about to leave, and he's like, nah, I'll stay. And then that character is threatened, and then immediately she just gives in. Like,
That's not capturing, that's blackmail the way the movie does it.
yeah.
He has an artifact that makes him super uber powerful.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, well, you should not be doing this. He's like, Peach. Whips out a piano.
Yeah. But no, I didn't have a huge problem with the story, mainly because I just found it entertaining. The pacing, for the most part, is fast enough, and the slowest part of the film is like the first 10 minutes, where it's pretty predictable with what they're doing. And I do. And that does grade a bit, but once they get into the colorful Mushroom Kingdom, I'm a lot finer with the movie. It doesn't bug me as much because I'm seeing more colorful ideas, and they're allowing to explore the ideas they want to about like the game mechanics, like the power-ups and stuff, which I didn't have a problem with that. The film does, I do feel like with a film like this where it's a lot of popcorn entertainment, you still gotta at least root with the characters enough to where you want them to make it to the end. And I think they do it a decent job, but I do think in moments when characters are like resting or like are camping and stuff, I do feel like they need to add just maybe like a minute or like a half a minute more of just them talking to get a real emotional connection with the characters, so you at least feel more of a connection when you reach the end, especially with the fact that Luigi is the one kidnapped. But I do get a good sense of their bond as brothers, but at the same time, they're like, as long as we're together, nothing will be a problem. But then they're separated right in the beginning of the movie. Like, I do feel like if they added a bit more time with that, it would flow a bit better for entertainment-wise.
Yeah, no, I totally agree and totally didn't make that point in the podcast that we recorded before this. Something I would say about that, though, when it comes to how often they talk, is that it's still more often than in most of the mainline games.
Yeah.
Even that little bit is nice to see, because while they're making this movie, they're trying to give the characters personalities. Luigi has his personality. He's scared a lot, but he always finds a way to work up the courage. And in Luigi's Mansion, it's usually find Mario, or in Where's Mario? Usually find Mario.
Yeah.
But like Mario doesn't have a lot of character traits. He goes and does a thing.
Yeah.
It's a me, a Mario. I go and do a thing. I'm gonna go save with I'm gonna go save with a princess, and then I do the thing.
And then Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
We might as well address the elephant in the room of the voice actors, because Mario being voiced by Chris Pratt, I do understand why they didn't have like the Charles Martinet voice him with that voice, because I feel like in some instances it could get very grating on the ears to listen to it constantly with movie dialogue. But in general, I think Chris Pratt does fine as Mario. I think there's a lot of better actors that could do it better. He gives Mario the slightest bit of an Italian accent, but it's not over the top, which is funny because all of his family members are making fun of a completely different Italian stereotype, where if they get excited, they go, wahoo, or shit like that.
I actually really agree with that. Chris Pratt could have done better, but he just decided to be Chris Pratt
Yeah,
instead of Mario.
he did an alright job.
Yeah, at least you put a little like mustache on and like put on a
Yeah.
red cap. But
Yeah.
like he was still Chris Pratt though.
Mm-hmm. But I thought he was completely passable. Charlie Day as Luigi, I honestly think he's one of the better parts of the film. I think he nails the character completely right. I literally have no complaints about Charlie Day as Luigi. If we maybe got a little bit more of him, I would have enjoyed that more, but I do enjoy Charlie Day as Luigi. I think he does a very good job at selling like the cowardy moments of the character.
Yeah, I mean Charlie Day, whether he's acting or talking, he just does a really good job in general.
Mm-hmm.
He's just good at what he does.
Yeah. And then Anya Taylor-Joy is Peach. This is one of my I know a lot of people have having a problem with them turning Peach into this like capable girl boss character, and I don't have a huge problem with it because, as I said, I do think it makes more sense for a story perspective to form a relationship with her and Mario. I feel like you could have made her a lot less badass, especially because I am a huge fan of Anya Taylor-Joy as an actress. I don't think she was casted perfectly in this role. I think that maybe if they would have found a different actress and maybe made her a lot less of a like complete ultra capable person who doesn't fail at a goddamn thing, I feel like that would have made the character closer to the games in that retrospective. But I think she's fine overall. As I said in the review of this we recorded, but it messed up. Her facial expressions, I don't think match that character very well either. I don't know the way that they put her into the Illumination animation style. I feel like the the facial expressions on the model doesn't look the best for that model, but overall I have no huge complaints about Peach like some people do, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't really have any complaints when it comes to Princess Peach, except for maybe a little too capable. Like I agree with that part because it's like if Bowser was such a big threat with a star that literally made him invulnerable and had like superhuman. If that's what they gave Mario and Luigi for using the Power Star. Spoilers, by the way.
Seg, no.
No, they're watching a movie review. It's gonna fucking happen. It's a review. I've watched movie reviews before. This is usually what happens.
I try to usually avoid spoilers, but that's not a huge spoiler. Like, what the fuck do you guys expect to happen?
Yeah, it's kind of expected. It's
Yeah.
kind of expected. You're like, oh, hey, it's the Starman from the first fucking game, which in the first game it is literally called Starman. That is what the
Yeah.
power up is. It's the Starman.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's also a David Bowie song, anyways.
Fantastic David Bowie song. I might add even if it gives Mario and Luigi the powers that they get from it, then giving that to Bowser would be a million times worse. So the fact that he never used it to show like his power, I found pretty interesting. But the fact that he was holding on to that, and Peach still found a way to like work around that so that he never uses it
But that action sequence is
ultra
pretty
long
good,
enough
though.
for somebody to do something about it. Like it, it's understandable that she's made more capable in this movie because again, she's not the damsel in distress. But at the same time, in future movies, that's going to be a thing,
Yeah.
undoubtedly. Without a
Hmm.
shadow of a doubt, that's going to happen. I don't know how the hell they're going to do it without changing the character.
Yeah. But overall, I didn't have a big problem like a lot of people did with her. I don't know. She was fine. Um, I thought Keegan Michael Key made a pretty good Toad. I think he brought a lot of funny energy to playing the main Toad. I have no problems with him. He's pretty entertaining. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. I do feel like you could cast a better actor in this. And I don't have a problem with Seth Rogen like a lot of people do, where he's in literally every animated thing ever, but he's fine in this. I don't have any problems. I like the way that they animate Donkey Kong. I think he's one character where the facial expressions match, but I do think a different voice actor could do a better job than him, but he's for the most part all right. I don't have a problem with Donkey Kong being voiced by Seth Rogen.
I mean, Seth Rogen's voice isn't too far off from Donkey Kong's in-game voices, from what
Mhm.
I've noticed. You just like sprinkle a little John Cena in there, and then bam, you've got yourself a Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I feel like a John Cena would also be a pretty decent Donkey Kong, but it
Yeah, but if it was Seth Rogen and John Cena like crossbreed of a voice, that's basically Donkey Kong.
yeah, but I didn't have any problems with him. I thought the only voice that really bugged me was Fred Armis. Is it Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong? It's not an awful voice, but for the amount that they use Cranky Kong in this, it does get really annoying fast, that voice. It's not in as I said, it would be fine if he was in it for only 2 minutes, but he's in it for like a lot more than that, which is strange, but it's fine. It does
Yeah,
annoy me a bit, but it's fine.
yeah, he has very Jewish like undertones with his voice, which I didn't think a very old ape would have. But I mean, they can probably fit a yarmulke on there, you know?
Yeah, or just maybe doing the stereotypical like old man prospector voice I maybe thought would have been a better choice for Cranky Kong. I don't know, but it's fine. It's not a big problem with me. Um then the best parts of this movie is Kevin Michael Richardson's as Kamek, the wizard Koopa, and then Jack Black as Bowser. Both of these actors, I think, are so entertaining on screen together. Mostly Blackjack, but I think Kevin Michael Richardson's.
You did it again.
Did I call him
You did
Blackjack?
it again.
Jack
I was
Black.
waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
I almost did before, and I'll redo that segment.
No. You gotta keep this part in.
Nope, I'm editing this out.
So, anyways, you're talking about Jack Black?
Yes. As I said, yeah,
Okay.
it's mostly carried by Jack Black as Bowser, but I also think Kevin Michael Richardson does a good job playing Kamek, and I think the rapport and chemistry between those two characters are the funniest in the film, especially because Bowser is like this intimidating, threatening character, but he's also pretty much being a simp towards Princess Peach, which I think Jack Black plays that insanely well.
I feel like there's a bit of a difference, but I feel like there's a bit of a difference between like simp and how Bowser is being portrayed, by Blackjack.
Shut up. Shut it.
uh, I feel like there's a difference between simp and tough softy
Yeah.
because he's a shy little guy. He walks up to princess. He's like pointing his fingers together. He's like, princess, I'm gonna destroy your kingdom unless you marry me.
And then
And I
Oh,
love when he gets jealous because as how the games treat him, if he like
yeah.
Bowser's the only character who's had like personality moments in some of the games. Bowser besides can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Bowser besides Luigi, Bowser is one of the only characters that has actual like character development from the actual games.
Yeah.
And that's primarily because of the RPG series Mario and Luigi,
Mhm.
and actually just all the RPG games actually.
Mhm.
Like Bowser has a lot of personality as a big brute and lovable softy at the same time. But yeah, he's always been treated like this has always been his characteristics, is being like some lovable goofball who's also extremely dangerous and owns
Psychopathic.
yeah, I mean, like that's one word. I say kind of, I say that he is a bit of a shenaniganizer. You know, like
Yeah.
he just he commits a little tomfoolery here and there.
Shenaniganizer.
But yeah, he's meant to be like he's always meant to be this kind of character, and that's
Yeah.
how the games usually portray him as.
Yeah.
So I feel as though that the way this is portrayed doesn't necessarily fit Simp. Simp just follows blindly.
Yeah.
He does so much, and it's
Mhm.
recognized every time.
Yeah. But he's honestly the best part of the movie to me. He plays such a good villain. I love Jack
Yeah,
Black.
Blackjack is a really good
Shut
game.
up. I like Jack Black in this, especially with his vocal talents with the whole Peaches song. And if you've seen this movie or even heard anything about this movie, you know that song. So,
If this
yeah,
video gets 15 likes, I'm going to do my own rendition of the entire song.
yeah, but no, I think Jack Black plays this character insanely well. He's great in the movie. Same thing with Kevin Michael Richards as Kamek. I think it's a very funny voice, like "Behold, the King of
The King of the Koopas. Behold, the King of the Koopas.
That's pretty
I know,
close.
pretty close.
Yeah, and especially when like Bowser's like looking to him for advice. I like all those scenes. They're honestly the best part of this movie. By an animation standard, I think this is Illumination's best looking film.
Yeah, the visuals are beautiful. The visuals, whew, lighting, the water looks realistic. I don't know why, like when it comes to animation, everything's got to be realistic. But I mean, like it looks good.
Yeah.
I don't think animation's meant to look realistic, personally,
I
but
don't think
they
it's
still have that
yeah.
cartooniness to it,
Mm-hmm.
so that it fits.
And I like how some
However, it's kind of hard to work realistic and cartoony.
yeah.
It's either cartoony or it's realistic.
Yeah. And I like how some moments like do try to like mimic the game's like side scrolling perspectives. That I think that's very creative. And then especially with how they do the power-ups of them changing the outfits and stuff. I like all of that. Seeing the different kingdoms as we go around, like the ice place or the jungle kingdom and the mushroom kingdom. I think all of them are very creative.
Kong Kingdom. It's not the Jungle Kingdom. It's the Kong Kingdom.
I thought it was the whatever.
No, I'm 89% sure they called it the Kong Kingdom because they had to get the Kong army from the Kong Kingdom.
Yeah, but I like all of the different kingdoms that we see, and especially the design of like Bowser's ship that he goes around in. That's also very cool looking. Yeah, animation and especially in the action scenes, I think they really work well. And then this is a bit of a complaint: is all the pop culture music that they use in the game in the movie. I like that they do integrate like the game's music into some moments, and especially when at the end they pick up the star power up, you get to hear like the superstar theme as they are like super speeding and like quicksilvering through Bowser's army. I like all of that. But I do feel like the pop songs they use in this are very out of place, like "Holding On for a Hero," "Take on Me,"
Kind of music, good song though. It fits no matter what.
Yeah. But I feel like they put it in the wrong spot, especially for
I
that.
don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know the kind of experience you get with that song in the background. Whew,
yeah.
man.
But no, it was those two. AC/DC's Thunderstruck, which also came out of nowhere. What
Yeah.
wasn't there like Kings of
No Sleep Till
Brooklyn?
Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think some of them match, but I feel like you could have cut maybe like Holding On for a Hero and Thunderstruck. I feel like both of those came out in a weird way, cause the film has a lot of small references to the games, and I really enjoy that. But I do wish that maybe in the scene, because the scene where Thunderstruck is playing, they're like putting together a Mario Kart thing, and maybe using some Mario Kart music would have been better there instead of just using
There isn't really a
Akadaka.
lot. There isn't really a lot of Mario Kart music they could have put there.
Yeah, I know. But I do think it does take you out when you just hear this pop song, because I feel like they're just using it so then people are like, "Oh, it's that song I like," but it's fine.
Yeah, but that's you could say that about the entire Mario like orchestral part of it.
Yeah,
Like, oh
fair.
hey, that's the song in that part of the game. That's
Mhm.
literally what I was doing in the theater, by the way. Was like, oh, that's that song from that level in that game. Oh, and that's that level from that game.
And then you point out all the little. You're literally the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of him pointing and being like, "Oh, look
Yeah.
over there."
Oh, up.
Yeah, but I liked all the little references to the games. The funniest thing in this to me is the like insanely depressed Luna. What the fuck is it? The
Luma.
Luma.
Luma. Luma.
Luma. I find that so funny that she's in this like star thing voiced by this little girl, or just a little kid in general. I think it's a girl, but she's saying all this like dark cryptic shit, and then everybody else who's also in prisons are like, "Shut up! You're bringing us all
I don't know.
misery."
I feel like the more important question
Yeah.
is like, uh, why the fuck is it there?
Oh my.
How the fuck did it get there? Who the
It's
fuck took it there?
it's a
Who the
movie.
fuck locked it up there?
It's a
Why
movie.
does anybody? Why doesn't anybody ask what the fuck that is?
You
You
could
know?
say that about any. You could say that
No, fuck
about
you can't.
any
No, fuck you
reference
can't.
in the
You can't say
game.
that about every reference because all the characters in that game are established within their own kingdoms, and like everything that you see in that movie besides that Luma is from those
I don't
kingdoms.
know. You see a horde of
That Luma is
Yoshis
from
running around in the
space.
background.
That Luma's from space. I don't think you have the same excuse there.
Whatever. It's not. I don't have that big of a I'm not gonna freak out over it. It was a funny joke and a cameo that they put in. I don't have a problem with it.
I feel like those kinds of jokes are a little. Jeez, it keeps not updating me whenever I'm talking and not talking. But, sorry. I feel as though that those sorts of jokes, like, oh, young child says outrageous thing, or oh, young child says morbid and dark thing. I feel like those jokes have been kind of overused lately.
It was fine to me. But yeah,
And I mean, so are poop jokes.
yeah. In sum up, I relatively enjoyed this film. It was just a fun watch. The movie's fast paced enough. I think they connect you with the characters enough to where you're entertained throughout. There are some problems, especially with how they adapt Mario and Peach specifically, but nothing to where I think it's a ruining of the film to fans of the games. You're going to recognize so many little Easter eggs in the background. It will be an entertaining watch. I definitely enjoyed it just for the 90 minutes it took up. If you have kids and they want to see it, you could definitely make them see something worse. It's not doing anything that is bad or bad morals or anything like that. And in general, I just give this a recommend. It's a fun movie. If you saw the trailer and you think you're going to get what you got, I got exactly what I expected from the trailer. And I definitely think that fans of the games will definitely enjoy this movie a lot, cuz I'm a fan, but I'm not a mega fan like my buddy Zeg here, but
I'm
I
not a
definitely
Mega fan. I'm a Nintendo fan.
okay.
They're not very, but they are different.
Okay. But I definitely give the film a recommend. And if you're wondering to whether see it on the big screen, I think definitely it's worth seeing on the big screen, especially for the animation. So I would give it a recommend for the big screen, but if you see the trailer and you don't think you'll like it, then don't see it. Because the trailer is exactly what the movie is, so. Do you give this
Yeah,
film a recommend, Zeg?
I would genuinely recommend this movie to anybody who's ever had fun before. Because if you've never had fun before, you're probably not there for the right reason.
But yeah, in general, it's just a fun, entertaining movie. And I will be starting my rating system. Obviously, I don't want the whole entire review to just be marked down by the rating system. That's why I'm putting it at the end, because my thoughts extend the rating system. But for this film, I'm going to give it 3.5 peaches out of 5. What are you gonna give
All
it,
right.
Zeg?
I'll give it uh mm, I'll give it 12 power stars and 3 peaches out of 17.
No, you gotta
17
actually
what?
do.
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
kidding. uh I would give it 4 power stars out of 5.
You would? Okay. Yeah. It gets a higher score for me because it's entertaining. You know, a movie can get a higher score for being entertaining, even if I think it has faults in other areas. But yeah, that will wrap up the review of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to like, subscribe down below. Check out the channel, share and favorite it. Check out our My Meandering Conversations podcast. Check out Zeg's channel, link in the description. He does a lot of fun stuff over on his channel. He's even our dungeon master for the Meandering Adventures. Yeah, and then the next review will be of Renfield. But for now, I will see you all next time. You have anything to end with, Zeg?
I mean, honestly, I prefer Zelda.
When is the Zelda movie?